Back in 2015, I spent a lot of time on the Epic Rap Battles of History wiki, both just on the site in general and also in the chat. I was one of the many who would write fan-made battles and post them there as blog posts, and every now and then I still do that these days, but far less consistent activity and a lot more quality to the writing. And none of them ever made it past the written stage aside from a few poorly made demos here and there, and those are very few and far between. At some point that year, a certain someone would come onto the wiki's chat that they used to have before fandom got rid of it, and among their many other questionable website altering decisions that have made it a far less viable platform within recent years. This person was Justin Buckner, one of the two people who originally created the Epic Rap Battle parody series, alongside Nathan Provost. He asked if anyone there was wanting to help on a project, and if so, to send him an example of the writing. So I decided to shoot my shot. I linked him a battle that I had just completed not long before that, which was Historical Assassins vs. Assassin's Creed, featuring John Wilkes Booth, Nathan Rumgotz, Lee Harvey Oswald, and Brutus, battling against Ezio, Altair, Connor, and Edward. It was a revamp of the first ever battle I had written, which was just Booth versus Connor, and I felt pretty good about it, at least at the time. I haven't gone back and reread exactly what the battle was like. But Justin apparently liked it too, because he let me join a group of writers for this project. This project was the ultimate video game rap battle. This battle, which all things considered is more like a cipher, was a 21-minute-long final product, or would-be final product. The audio was finalized, but the visuals were never finished outside a few select rappers, such as Space Invaders or Pac-Man, with both Sims and Cloud Strife having a bit of visuals done from what I can recall. Really, this project was trying to do way too much for what it was, and had they opted for simpler visuals, it probably could have come to fruition. Unfortunately, the project was cancelled a few years after the fact, with the audio for it sort of being in a Schrodinger's cat situation of it may or may not be around at any given point. Luckily, I just so happened to look it up, and found out that within a fast few months the audio had been restored again. And that's what's allowing me to do this video now. What exactly did I do for this battle? Upon entering the writing, I had my eyes on a specific game to write for: Skyrim. I've mentioned in the past that Skyrim is my favorite game, and especially was true back in 2015 because I was still new to it back then. But Skyrim wasn't there. No Elder Scrolls game was there. From what I recall, Justin's reasoning was too similar to Minecraft, which doesn't really make sense. Yes, both are free-roaming games, but outside of that, crafting and a few select species of mobs, the games aren't too similar, especially not enough to justify keeping one of them out of the battle that the other one's already in. It makes even less sense when you consider that there's a Scrooge McDuckverse, and he doesn't even originate from the video game. But anyway, I did what any logical person would do. I chose two characters I knew absolutely nothing about. As you can no doubt tell from the thumbnail and title, the two I picked were Samus Aran from Metroid and Kratos from God of War. I knew next to nothing about them at the time, and frankly still don't because I haven't looked into their respective video game series. But I did it anyway. I was doing something I had wanted to do for a while by that point, which was work on a big rap battle project, especially with this battle including several people I was a fan of. Beyond just Justin and Nathan, there were several other staples of the nerdcore rap community there too: Matt Forio, Cam Steady, Kevin Crust, and more importantly for this topic, Nemraps. I specify Nemraps because he was the one who did the recording for my Kratos verse. Samus, on the other hand, was done by Mel Gorsha. Even all these years later, I think they did great with delivering what I had written for them. And you'll get to hear their verses later on in the video. In terms of the writing process, I really don't remember much in way of what I was thinking for each line. I did very quick and light research on both characters and operated off of that. From what I recall, Samus's verse ended up being heavily revised. Most of what I had written for her verse kept what I was going for, but was just revised to fit the flow better. Well, Kratos basically said the exact same as how I had written him to begin with, though I do distinctly remember sternly keeping in my David Jaffa Cake bar, which someone tried to get out of the line. I wanted the Jaffa Cake bar, and I got the Jaffa Cake bar. I actually didn't know who did my verses at the time, and I didn't pay much mind either because I was just excited that it happened. At no point before did anything written by me get performed by someone else, and this project had it happen twice. It wasn't until later on that I learned Nem recorded for Kratos, and I had a little fan geek out moment because since then I had become a fan of his without even realizing he was involved in this project, let alone the one who performed for one of my verses. I don't really know what Mel is up to anymore, but I do appreciate the work she put in for the Samus verse. I'll be putting a link in the description for you to give a listen to the entire 20-minute track for as long as it's currently going to be up. No idea if it's going to stay up, because it always seems to disappear at some point. But if you're just interested in the two verses that I wrote for, then, without further ado, the Samus and Kratos verses, performed by Mel Gorsha and Nem Raps, and written by me.
All these protagonists are zeros, more plain than the base suit. Ridley's Ripley primed with the screw attack just for you. This Mega Boy's the nerf of games, facing the blood of the Chozo, the reigning bounty huntress, hero playthings, amoebas. Mother brains with my gender, planet busting's what I send you. Not as massive as the shadow stood, and by this other M. Even with the dark suit, I could see your loyalties misguided. I mean, Nintendo, what it is today, boys. Don't you get too excited.
You dare step to a god, you just create a game war. Step to the ghost of Sparta and taste hordes of Minotaur. High-ended Freeman spree, start spamming your controller buttons. My moves are iconic, your defenses are all for nothing. Clean the sewer pipes with a space hog. I don't need pieces of crawl from killing you off like Ares. I'm a demigod, you don't scare me. Sweet fluid movements, you can compare me to Jaffa Cake. Thought that you could defeat me? Ha! That'll be your last mistake.
So there you have it. I always love going down this rabbit hole memory lane, whatever that is that this lost project is. And it feels good to finally get a video out on it too. I'd love to eventually take part in a huge project like this again at some point in the future. If anyone who happened to work on this project has something I could write for and you happen to be watching this video, feel free to hit me up at any of the social medias that I have in the description below. And maybe one day I'll even do the performing myself when I get the right equipment. We'll see. All that being said, go and do all that YouTube algorithm stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, because a whopping 90-something% of my viewers are not subscribed, and if you're viewing, I'm willing to bet you enjoy it enough to subscribe. Link to the social media is in the description below, as I said a minute ago, including a link to the Discord server where you can have a more direct line of contact with me. So, until next time, I will see you when I see you.